Assalamualaikum and hi. So today our group would like to present about the implementation of public policies in Malaysia. So let's get started. So this is my group members.
In Malaysia, government choices as well as action intend to solve the problems of society and fulfill particular goals are generally referred as public policies. These rules focus on several important topics including social welfare, healthcare, education and economic development. The goal of the government are to ensure sustainable development, foster economic progress and deal with problems like income inequalities and unemployment. The process of implementing public policies into reality is regulated, involving government agency in charge of developing, approving and carrying out the policies. In the Malaysian economy, implementing public policy into action requires several types of steps. Initially, those who make decisions establish economic policy that focus on particular issues including increasing growth in the economy, reducing inflation, and advancing sustainable development. Once policies have been developed, the policy must be approved and implemented by the right government agency. The implementation of the policy is the duty of the department and agency of the government that govern the policy specific section. After it has been approved, the policy may be modified according to public feedback and chances in circumstage to guarantee the rules remain in harmony with Malaysia's dynamic economy. In addition, in order to secure support and handle any challenges involvement among stakeholders, including important aspect that includes interacting with companies, organizations and serve the company and other necessary entities. The implementation of the policy strategy enhance the possibility of good policy choices and improve Malaysia's overall economic development.
Next, definition monetary and fiscal policy. Monetary policy is a country's central bank toolkit for managing the total amount of money in circulation, encouraging economic expansion, and implementing plans including adjusting interest rate and altering bank reserve requirement. In order to achieve greater economic growth, price stability, and full employment, monetary policy is a government strategy concerning the money supply and credit creation. It is also a measure intended to regulate its total money supply and promote economic expansion, including revising interest rate and changing bank reserve requirement. Other than that, it also can be defined as the handling of the amount of money that is accessible in an economy and the method used to introduce new fund. On top of that, a fiscal policy modified the ratio of government spending to taxation in impact aggregate demand. The control of economy by the government through a change in taxation, public debit, government spending, government revenue, and the size and nature of economy are all covered under fiscal policy. Fiscal policy refers to the process by which economic conditions, particularly microeconomic conditions, are influenced by government tax and spending policies. These include employment, inflation, economic growth, and the total demand for goods and services.
So let's move to the types of monetary policy. Monetary policy can be divided into two types, which are first is contractionary monetary policy and second is expansionary monetary policy. Contractionary monetary policy aims to decrease money supply. The government will try to restrict the credit and reduce the money supply in the economy. This will help the economy in Malaysia when facing an inflation. Therefore, the government should decrease the money supply as an effort to combat the inflation. An increase in inflation brings the overheated economy, which can arise protracted periods of economic expansion. Next is expansionary monetary policy. Expansionary monetary policy aims to increase the money supply. The use of this policy is to control unemployment during recession, and it works when the economy weakens and employment falls short of the federal's maximum employment rate. Moreover, it is utilized by the regulator to increase the market's money supply through buying government securities and decreasing the bank rate, also lowering interest rate. Next, we move to types of fiscal policy. The first type of fiscal policy is contractionary. Contractionary fiscal policy is used as macroeconomic tool by the country's central bank or finance ministry in order to slow down the economy. It also can be applied to bring an economy down to more a sustainable level when its growth is causing inflation on a large scale. Therefore, the government may need to raise taxes and cut spending in order to close the inflationary gap. Indirectly, the aggregate of demand curve will shift to the leftward as an effort to stop demand pull inflation. Next type of fiscal policy is expansionary fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy is used when an economy is in recession or depression in order to stimulate economic activities and overcome unemployment. The government will increase the spending and lower taxes. Also, will make this policy to shift the aggregate demand curve rightwards in order to expand real outputs. As example, Datuk Seri Ibrahim said that the government will continue with an expansionary fiscal policy in order to support economic growth. He also said that the government was also committed to carrying out measures to reduce the country's deficit in stages.
Interest rates such as the overnight policy rate (OPR) are controlled by Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM), the government central bank, in order to impact the cost of borrowing for both people and businesses, as well as manage inflation. The overnight policy rate, which is the National Bank's policy interest rate, is the main tool that is often used. What is the overnight policy rate? The interest rate that applies when banks loan to and borrow from one another overnight is known as the overnight policy rate. The overnight policy rate is established by Bank Negara Malaysia in order to effect the economy's overall interest rate environment. On the other hand, Bank Negara Malaysia might decrease the overnight policy rate in order to encourage borrowing and investment, which will increase economic activity if the economy is weak.
Next, tools for monetary policy are open market operation. The central bank manipulate the amount of cash reserve in commercial bank by purchasing and disposing government securities. To boost the amount of money in circulation within the economy, the central bank will purchase security from other financial institutions, including commercial bank. As a result, the interest rate will decline and the commercial reserve will rise. The people will be more willing to lend money when interest rate decline, which will increase the amount of money available in the economy. The Federal Reserve buy and sell securities on the open market. This is known as the open market operation. The amount of money that banks have on reserve is controlled by the Federal through open market activity. To expand the money supply, the Federal Reserve buy treasury securities to decrease it and sell them.
Next, tools of fiscal policies, tax reduction, tax in Malaysia for resident. In Malaysia, the personal income tax system is progressive with tax rates ranging from 0% to 20%. Individuals are considered resident for tax purposes if they are in Malaysia for 182 days or more in a calendar year. Tax in Malaysia for non-resident. For non-resident, they are generally taxed only on income derived from Malaysia. Common types of taxable income for non-resident include employment income, business income, and certain types of passive income. They will pay a flat tax rate of 30% if they spend less than 182 days of the year in Malaysia. Tax return form. Malaysia uses LHDNM to handle tax-related matters. Every year, all employees in Malaysia are obligated to submit an income tax return detailing their earnings. The main tax return form used by individuals in Malaysia is the Form BE. Next, public spending. Current spending refers to the expenditure made by a government on its day-to-day operation and ongoing programs. This type of spending covers various recurring expenses necessary for the functioning of government agencies and the delivery of public services. Example of current spending include salaries and benefits for government employees. Capital spending involves investment in long-term assets such as infrastructure projects, building, or equipment. Capital spending contributes to the development and expansion of a nation's physical and social infrastructure. Government allocate funds for both current and capital spending in their budgets, and the balance between these two types of spending can have significant implications for a country's fiscal health and economic development. For example, the federal government total expenditure for 2023 has been revised upward to RM 397.1 billion, equivalent to 21.5% of GDP.
Next slide, I will talk about implementation of monetary policy and fiscal policy. First, I will talk about implementation of monetary policy, which is first, interest rate. In this statement is about that we need to be more precisely clear about this through the open market. Besides, the prior rate is the interest rate banks are in charge of the best corporate customer. This is also mean the floor on which bank short term of different types are based. Other than that, currency exchange, which is sometimes bank negara, invest in the foreign exchange market against other currency. This can make the exchange rate will be impacted by both the domestic currency value and the foreign currency value. Next, I will talk about implementation of fiscal policy. Otherwise, we will talk at the implementation of fiscal policy, which is the government spending. Government must spending on what their people needs. Besides, the government also must have to spend wisely and separate needs between people and government. This is to make sure that the government fulfill the needs of people, so people can trust them, and we can live in harmony and become a happy citizen in that country. Lastly, taxation is being introduced is because to manage the revenue and give some incentive to the economy activities. Therefore, taxes will also come in many varieties and serve different specific purpose. More, every people must have included taxation in their bills because of that has been in their policy as well.
To sum up, implementing public policy in Malaysia into implementation is a complicated procedure that starts with decisions by the government that are made in order to resolve social issues and accomplish particular objectives. In Malaysia, monetary and fiscal policy are effectively combined with tools including interest rate adjustment to achieve economic stability, environmentally friendly growth, and improve welfare for the population. In addition, the government and central banks use monetary and fiscal policy as essential tools to control and maintain the overall state of the economy. The objective of this policy is to change a range of economic factors such as unemployment, inflation, and total economic growth. Both monetary and fiscal policies, each having a unique variety of tools and objectives, are key tools applied by government and central banks to control economic conditions. Cooperation between the two policies may be necessary for accomplishing control of the economy as their efficaciousness and limitation different. In order to ensure economic stability and growth, a variety of policy must be coordinated and controlled as part of Malaysian monetary and fiscal policies. The government is in charge of fiscal policy, and while Bank Negara Malaysia, the Central Bank of Malaysia, is normally in charge of managing monetary policy. As a result, Malaysia implements monetary and fiscal policy through a variety of strategies aimed at solving socio-economic issues, ensure price stability, and achieve sustainable economic growth. To achieve these goals, cooperation between Bank Negara Malaysia and the government is important.
So that's all from us. Thank you for listening. Bye.